Thanks for clicking on my video. This video is going to be for anybody who wants to get their organizational leadership degree or is considering getting their organizational leadership degree. And today I really just hope to shed some light on my experience as an organizational leadership graduate from a four-year university in the U.S., in the Midwest, so to speak. The first thing that I want to talk about is who this degree is for. And my opinion on this has changed over time as I've gone through the program and finished the program. But I really think that this degree isn't necessarily for people who don't have any education or any experience. And let me elaborate on that a bit. If you don't already have anything, if you don't have any experience, if you don't have any work experience, if you don't have any skills already, I would argue that this degree isn't really for you. I would recommend that you go with a degree that's a lot more specific. Something like management or engineering, something like that. And let me tell you why. So I unfortunately did go through the program with no prior skills or experience, hoping that this degree would open doors for me after college, and that is just simply not the case. It's been 5 months since I graduated university and with my organizational leadership degree, and I do not have any job offers. I've probably applied for around 300 jobs, and when I tell you 300 jobs, I don't mean I've gone on LinkedIn and clicked Easy Apply or gone on Indeed and clicked Apply Now and just put my resume in there and let that accumulate into the tens of thousands of applicants for a lot of jobs out there. I haven't been doing that. I've been going to the company website and applying that way. That's just what I've always done and what's always landed me the best jobs in the past. So that's what I continue to do today. I have not been offered a job worth taking yet. If it is your idea that you would get the organizational leadership degree and then immediately go out and try to find a job afterwards, after your four-year education, I would strongly suggest against that. I think this degree really is more for people who have experience or who want to move up in the current company they're in. There are even some companies that encourage you go and get this degree, and these companies are saying if you go get the OLS degree, you can move up in our company and become a team leader or a manager or like an introductory manager type deal where you have some leadership opportunity, and that's great if that's you and that's what you want to do, and your company is telling you to go get this degree and they're going to pay for it. I think that's great. I think that's a great opportunity, and if that's you, go for it 100%. Go get that degree so you can move up in your company. If you don't have to pay for it, that's even better. So yeah, that is really who I think this degree is for. Who this degree is not for. This degree is not for people like me who don't have really their own career figured out yet, so to speak, we can say. This degree is not for people who want to go to school and have that school be their credential to be able to get a job. I don't think that the organizational leadership degree does that for people. I really just don't think it does, because that has not been the case for me. Having applied for many jobs, supervisor type jobs, introductory manager type jobs, things of that nature, I have had zero luck actually getting into. Every interview that I have really just doesn't get me anywhere. It becomes dead, essentially. I go through the interview, I think the interview goes great. I'd like to think of myself as a personable individual, but that just doesn't, I just don't get the callback ever after the initial contact for that initial interview. So I don't know if that has something to do with my interview process and what I do, or if that speaks on the organizational leadership degree, if that speaks on the organizational leadership degree effectiveness, I'm not sure. But what I can say is that not once has anybody ever known what organizational leadership is. When I have conversations with people in a professional setting, nobody really knows what that is or understands that or thinks that it has value. And that's the problem, I think, with people who want to get this degree as a leg up or as their, secondary source of education, after high school or your GED or whatever that looks like for you. I just don't think that organizational leadership is worth your time. It hasn't really proven to do anything well for me. And that's disappointing. As somebody who didn't know that this was going to happen, and spent 4 years getting a degree, and spent a bunch of money, on this degree, and housing to live at the university that I was living at, that's really disappointing. Super disappointing. And basically, I'm still working the same job that I worked in college. Is that okay? I mean, it's better than not working at all. Better than not having a job at all, for sure. But the expectation when you go to school and get a degree and get an education is that you can get a better job. A job that pays more and has more opportunities for you to grow. And that has not been my experience with the organizational leadership degree. Now, let's talk about what the organizational leadership degree provides you as a student. So basically, you're going to have to do general education classes. You're going to have to take your basic math, science, English, all those kinds of things. You're not going to be able to get out of that. That is pretty standard and normal. This road's beautiful. But you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to get those out of the way. You're going to have to get that general education out of the way. And there's not really a whole lot you can do about that. But once you get into your organizational leadership classes and the classes that are more geared towards your degree, at the school that I went to, the organizational leadership degree was in the technology school. So I got to do other classes other than just leadership courses. And I think that can be valuable to some people. But did it really teach me anything that's going to allow me to get a job? No, I don't think it did. So let's talk about the OLS classes themselves. The OLS classes themselves, honestly, guys, they're just not worth your time. They're not going to really give you any skills that you didn't already have. And maybe they do for you, but if you are a somewhat personable individual and you can hold your own in a conversation and you're, somewhat confident of an individual, and you see yourself as a leader already, I would not bother getting the organizational leadership degree. I would not bother. It's not really going to make you workforce ready. It's just going to make you really good at finishing something and at completing tasks as a group with other people. And if that's what you want to do, and that's your jam, go for it for sure. But I don't think that it's worth going to school for 4 years to learn how to work with other people, especially if you're already somewhat of a people person. If you are a person like me who wanted to get a degree right out of high school, and you want to use that to do well for yourself, I would suggest going out and getting a degree that's a lot more specific. Get a degree in mechanical engineering, for example. Get a nursing degree, get a pre-med, degree. Don't go out and get an organizational leadership degree. Shoot, you could even get a management degree. That would even be better. Because when people hear that word management, they know exactly what you're talking about. And I think that's the major problem with the organizational leadership degree is when you talk about it, nobody knows what it is. Nobody is like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is. That immediately provides value in my head. If you're like I was and you just graduated high school, I would say go out and get a very specific degree that when you graduate, there is a very specific job waiting for you once you graduate. I would not get a vague degree. This goes for any degree, really, if it's vague like that. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are some. I'm sure you guys can think of some. If you're applying for school and you're looking through lists of degrees, I'm sure you've seen some on there. Don't get a vague degree. I want to talk more about the organizational leadership coursework load. I feel like it's not very difficult at all. If you are familiar with how to use a computer, you're going to do a lot of things online through the university's online system. Wow, look at this car. Look at that. Woo! The thing's old. If anyone knows what that is, drop it in the comments. But the course load is not very hard. The classes themselves, even at the senior level, is not very hard. I think that you could realistically get all of the coursework done in way less time than an 8-semester traditional bachelor's degree would take. It took me 7 semesters, and I took a semester off. I think that realistically, anybody could get it done in 7 semesters. I think if you wanted to get this degree, I would really recommend doing an accelerated program, especially if you're going to be a student full-time. Go ahead and do an accelerated program if there's one available. You can take as many credit hours as you want, by the way. Most of the time, most universities will let you take as many credit hours as you want. I wouldn't be afraid to take 21 credit hours, 22, 23 credit hours with the organizational leadership degree. Now, maybe don't pack yourself full of gen ed. You might be, miserable. Obviously, don't make yourself miserable. But in the organizational leadership, coursework, I don't really believe it to be all that difficult. Especially if you're a full-time student. If you're not a full-time student, you're also working, maybe don't do that to yourself. But a lot of this stuff is going to be online. A lot of your classes are going to be online. In the modern world that we live in, it's going to be 80 to 90% online. My classes were. I would take, 6, 7, 8 classes a semester, and 2 of them would be in person and 4 of them would be online. Or 1 of them would be in person and 6 of them would be online. Wow, that's beautiful, huh? Getting this degree is more or less useless, and due to my ability to not get hired after school, I think that you're way better off just getting a more specific degree with a very clear career path. And don't waste your time. Don't waste your time with an organizational leadership degree, and waste 4 years of your life. Don't do that. If you're going to spend 4 years in university, get a more specific degree that you know is going to have value and that you know is going to provide you with a good career. Organizational leadership is not that. That is not what it is. I'm sorry to say it because I thought it was. I thought I was going to be able to hop in and be a manager or a supervisor anywhere. And that is not the case. I've applied for manager and supervisor positions, even like entry level, places like that. And that just has not been my reality. So I hope that this clears things up for people, generally as a whole. And I hope that this can either solidify your feelings about OLS or question your feelings about OLS as a general topic. That's all I've got for today, guys. If this type of content interests you, go ahead and drop me a sub. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And I'd love to hear in the comments what you think about organizational leadership. I'd love for you to drop me a comment about anything. We can have a conversation in the comments. Other people can learn from other people. If you are an OLS graduate, I would love to hear your experience. If you know someone in OLS, I would love to hear their experience. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.